What happened there? Welcome back. Thanks for coming to watch some more chess. Let's switch our time control and get a 15-10. Oh, that last Dutch that I posted was heartbreaking. Looking for some redemption here. Maybe give the Grunfeld a try. Oh, we're going to get the white pieces, though, so e4. Pirc. Pirc, I guess, as it's pronounced. Pirc. I'm going to go... I don't know. I haven't studied a lot of theory against the Pirc, but I have recently watched a few videos on it. So let's see what I can do. I like to go knight c3 and either f4 or f3. I think these are the Austrian attack and the 150 attack, I think is what they're called. And launch a kingside pawn storm, just throw everything at the king side over here. But it can get kind of hairy. All right, so he brought the knight out to support one of these pawn pushes, I think. But that blocks the bishop's protection here. So maybe I can develop my bishop to e3 without fear of the knight coming in to drive it out. That seems all right. Okay, he's going for a check, Pirc. I only know the name of it. I don't really know any theory. So I think now I could go for light square bishop development and kind of hold my cards a little closer to my chest on what I want to do with kingside. Because it'd be real easy just to get castled queenside, but I want to keep the knight out of this square, so I don't want to move my queen yet. I could develop the bishop to e2 to keep the knight out of there. That leaves me the option of f3 or f4. Okay, I think I'm going to do that. Again, I know no theory in the Pirc. Okay. Challenges the center. Solid principle. Now I can go queen d2 and look at castling. Or what? Develop the knight. That blocks my f-pawn though, which I want to move. I could move the f-pawn. I like going f4, I think, because it keeps the knight out of e5 after takes and takes. but it also allows him to take on the F file instead. Not a big deal. I just take with the bishop, and I'm left with two central pawns. So I think F4 is my answer. Okay. Now he goes bishop to E7, getting ready to castle kingside, but that also puts some pressure here now that I've opened up the F2 square. If I just develop queen D2, getting ready to castle, no, he doesn't have any tricks. There's no sacks or anything like that because I've got this pawn to block. So I think now we just go queen D2 and castle queenside. Okay. That is to be expected as well, I think. Lion defense. Chess.com is calling this. Is this the Black Lion? Is that what this has been kind of renamed? Um, so that puts the queen over here on this side of the board where I'm looking at castling. Currently, my knight is guarding that square, but there might be a deflection here. So if I just castle, can he take here? I think he can take on E4, threatening the queen and the knight. Where if I take with the knight, he has queen takes A2, and I'm boxed in here. I could lift the queen to escape, have this escape route for the king. Um, I could also move the bishop to fortify the E4 square. Takes the square away from my knight. But I don't want to block this line of the bishop either, because I want to keep the knight from coming to G4 and trading itself off from my dark square bishop. So if I castle, I don't. Is there this sack? I take. He takes. I take. Queen takes A2, and what? Just Queen D3, guarding against checkmate, or even knight back. I don't even have to go Queen D2. I could just go knight back to C3 to block the checkmate here. I think I just castle. Um, I'm expecting something like B5 to try and drive this knight away. Maybe I should have verbalized that before I castled queenside, but here we are. Now, if I do something like king b1, my knight's trapped. It's got nowhere to go. So how about if I go knight here? That abandons this. But the queen is hanging. So if I go knight to d5, the queen's hanging. Oh, he takes with check. I take back and I lose the knight. That doesn't work because it's with check. And it doesn't work if I go king to b1 because then he kicks my knight and the queens no longer see each other. Hmm. What if I go knight back first and abandon this pawn? It's inviting him to take. I don't think I've really gained anything there either. I've got 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Opponent has 14:23. Um, hmm. Maybe pushing in the center. How about d5? If he tries to push now, I take, he takes, attacking my queen, I take with check. So let's push d5. If he pushes, that abandons this pawn, though maybe with the bishop. He attacks and I take, and he moves his pawn, his knight. Okay, so he's developed his bishop. Now if I take and he takes back, I've opened up the C file. Now I've kind of, everything is shifting over here to the queen side, and my king side attack is not rolling as fast as I want it to. My area of play is over here on the king side, and everything is happening on the queen side right now. Can I go king to b1 now? If he attacks, then I take, he takes. I've got to move the knight. This is the only square. That abandons the e4 pawn. So bishop here to protect the e4 pawn. And then if b4 and takes, and knight here, I'm good. So king b1. Oh no, 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 no. I needed bishop here. I just rushed my move order in my head and I think I just lost my knight. Takes. Well, if attacks the knight, I attack. He takes. Knight here, I abandon, I lose a pawn. Central pawn. I wanted to go bishop to F. Yeah. Suppose knight here, if knight takes here, I've got queen takes. Maybe. The queen's hanging, so queen takes, knight takes. The bishop is guarding this square. But once again, everything's happening over here on the queen side. I'm down to 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Opponent has 12:28. Gonna have to move a little quicker. So I've abandoned this pawn. If he takes, I take here with the queen. He takes the knight. Okay then. It was not an expected turn of events. Okay. I need to get my other pieces in. I need to shift my attention over here to the king side. But the king is still in the middle. Breaking through in the middle might be a good idea as well. If I develop the knight and he takes, then I'd be forced to take with the queen. And maybe he has this, but then I can just take back with the pawn. Let's get the knight developed. Let's get the knight developed. Now we might be threatening to take on. Okay. Now the bishop's hanging if the king castles and it's pinned. So there's a threat of pawn takes or bishop takes pawn. And I'm looking at rook h to e1. Bring the queen back to defend the pawn. Doesn't want to defend the pawn. Did he miss that? So this is a checkmate threat. And you can't move the bishop. He's got to bring the queen back to defend the bishop now. And then okay, so I'm going to take, and then take the knight and the pawn. And this doesn't look great. That's a very exposed king. Yeah, and the eval showing me up 8.4 on the evaluation. I was looking pretty rocky there for a minute, and I didn't feel like I was doing so well. I felt like black had an edge. Let's see what the game review says. I played that with a 90.5% accuracy. That makes me feel all warm and fuzzy, like a 2300. Wow. The opening was not great, but I made up for it in the middle game. No blunders, but black does have an edge. So this is the black lion, I guess, is what it's calling it now. I love it. I know it is the Pirc. Maybe this knight move is definitive of the black lion. I've seen Simon Williams play it quite a bit, or refer to it at least, and I don't know any theory behind it. It looks like a variation of the check Pirc to me. The check Pirc. But everything looks solid to this point. White has a 0.3 edge after f4. That was a mistake. Lifting the queen was an inaccuracy, not a full-on mistake. So let's look at other options here. Instead of the queen lift, I just want to get castle to queen side. Developing the knight here blocks the bishop's line of sight on g4. I didn't like that. And pushing h3 first seems... I don't know, I do want to push kingside pawns, though. I want to start a kingside pawn roll. Maybe something outrageous like g4. Hmm. I don't know. What is this saying is best? I'm gonna look at g4 for just a second. It's also saying that's inaccurate, but it doesn't lose a whole lot. It gives black a 0.3 edge. I go from 0.4 for white to 0.3 for black, so a little less than a pawn swing there. What's the best move? What is the best move here? Just develop the knight. Okay, it doesn't really care that I'm blocking the bishop's line of sight. Get your piece out and develop it. But I didn't like this. I didn't want black to come here and trade off the dark square bishop. Although I do have this. No, it's not a guaranteed. It's even calling that knight move a inaccuracy. Okay. Back to review. That was a mistake. Castling queenside, it did not like. And it's probably going to want me to develop the knight. No, just go a4. Interesting. That just... Why a4? I clearly want to develop the knight and get castle kingside in that situation. Just to stop b5. But it doesn't even stop it at this point because he can go b5 and I can't. He can go b5 and I can't take because the pawn's pinned to the rook. So Why? That doesn't even stop b5. Hmm. Curious. What is Black's best move after this? Is to castle kingside, and then knight h3. Um, e takes d, and bishop takes d4. It would have been an interesting position, but I don't understand this. Like, why can't Black just go b4, b5? I go b4. Okay. So this is all just like I would have had to completely abandon my idea of castling queenside to see these two moves, which isn't outrageous. I mean, I've changed plans before, but I wasn't thinking that direction at all. And that's a miss. And Black has a 2.2 edge here. It's his biggest chance. And let's just see what White's best move is to take in the center. Okay, but this was a miss because this bishop development here was a miss. Because of what? Because of just, yes, just this. But I thought I could take here. Can't I? I take there. B takes. Okay. Yeah, B takes. And then C takes check. And bishop takes, I'm guessing. Yes, bishop takes and queen takes. And then queen takes a2. So yeah, I mean, I don't love White's position here. Black's going to get castled very quickly, and I'm wide open here on the king side. So that would have been tragic. Opponent did not go for that, however, and I lucked out. Well, the knight development was best. And here he starts to really flounder, and that just opened up. I don't understand why he rushed this so much. He had plenty of time on his clock. All the way back, say here, Black has an edge here. Black still has the edge. He's got 12 minutes on his clock. Maybe he was just trying to pressure me with the time because I had so little. But this move, instead, if he had just captured the pawn, I think that was better. Takes with bishop. Okay. Threatens immediate mate. So I have to take. And then he gets castled. After a little more thought, it's thinking this knight move is better. But still, the king's going to get castled. Rooks are going to come to B and C, and all of the pressures on White. So him voluntarily breaking open the center with his king still on the D file or the E file. My opponent helped me out a lot there. And that was just a egregious error there. I go from 1.0 to 3.8. It's because the king is the only defender here. The queen can get back, but that's not enough. I'm going to take here. I'm going to pile up more pressure. So opponent resigned here in the face of a lonely king in the middle of the board versus some power pieces. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Come back and view some more chess with me.